The Cardinals traveled down to Bloomington and beat the 13th ranked team in the country, Illinois Wesleyan, 38-20. Head coach Jeff Thorne is on the set to talk about that, and we catch up with the national title winning triathlon team on this week's Cardinal Corner. All that and more is next on the Red Zone.
The presenting sponsor of the Red Zone is Athletico, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Welcome into the Red Zone, and head coach of the football team, Jeff Thorne, on set. And coach, a couple numbers at you. Illinois Wesleyan was 13-0. They were unbeaten in the conference, and the final score of this game was 38-20. Your team with an absolute complete performance. How pleased were you with your team after this game?
Extremely. Yeah, our guys really played hard and paid attention to detail, and we knew that was going to be a huge challenge. That's a really, really good team. Great receivers, great quarterback. Their defense is solid. And save a couple early mistakes, putting the ball on the ground a couple times. One was kind of a fluky play, but I thought our guys really did a great job of staying focused and not worrying about what's already happened, can't change it, and keep moving forward, and came away with a huge win. This
is the second big game on the schedule, the Wheaton game and now this game, and the difference between the two is pretty drastic. It just looked like everybody knew exactly their role in this game, and it showed. Yeah, you know, we played Wheaton in the fourth game of the year, the first time we've played them that early in quite a while, and of all the years to have that happen, this is probably the worst one. Yeah. We're a young team. Was telling you guys on the way over here, we've got 30 of our 44 in the offense and defensive two deep are freshmen or sophomores. Wow. And 37 of those 44 will be back next year. So we're young, and I couldn't be more proud of how our guys each week have gotten better, and the job Coach Durking and Coach Janicek and Coach Sinclair and you know the other assistant guys on defense have done, really bringing our defense along. Yeah. Each week it's been rewarding and satisfying. You talk about rewarding, and we've talked about this in the past. Having a young team, it's fun to have a veteran-laden group because it's probably a different style of coaching, but to have a young group and being able to see them progress over the course of a schedule, I feel like this year, probably more than I've ever seen, which is almost a full decade now, it's been an incredible difference between week 1 and now week 10 or week 11. And you know, we've had to move some guys around here and there too, so that always makes it a little bit more difficult to see the immediate improvement. But you know, a kid like Jake Beasley comes to mind, who early in the season, he played receiver all year last year. So his first game at corner against Lake Forest was the first time he's played corner in his life. Yeah. You know, he had a spring, but we don't have pads on. So you saw his athletic ability on Saturday with that interception, and he forced a fumble at the goal line. Yep. And really took 38, I don't want to say completely out of the game. He still made some plays, but some of the plays he made were when Jake wasn't on him. Right. You know, and I just thought he was absolutely phenomenal on Saturday. Well, let's talk about the one guy who's been rock steady all year long, and that's Brock Rudder. 2 touchdowns, but I think maybe the most impressive thing was when things broke down in this game, he took advantage with the feet. And we've seen this in the past, but it almost seemed like he knew exactly where he needed to be in this game to pick up first downs and in the touchdown run. Were you impressed with his ability to escape the pocket and get upfield? Yeah, very impressed. Not surprised, because he's done that before. Brock's not a running quarterback, but he is an effective, efficient runner when he has to. And it doesn't always look pretty, but he gets it done, and he's a competitor. You know, when he scored the touchdown with his feet coming off the field, his mouth's bleeding, his tongue is bleeding, and the look on his face and in his eyes, you just saw the fire. Yeah. And his refusal to allow our team to lose. I thought one of the biggest plays, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you guys were backed up against your own goal line, and I think it was 3rd and 8 or something, and he ran for that first down. Huge play. How pivotal was that? Huge play, because shortly thereafter we hit a big long pass. Yep. That got us out of that end and into scoring zone. And, you know, he got us out of trouble. Right. Huge throw to Mike Svikas, who had dropped one earlier, comes back, same play. Yeah. Catches it and almost scores, and then Brock runs it in. It was a huge sequence right there that really put the game out of reach. We talked about the wide receivers. You brought up one of them, Michael Svikas, Andrew Kaminsky, Cam Moore, Corey Hardeman in that group as well. But Moore and Kaminsky both hauling catches. That first throw that Brock had to Cam Moore looked like they have finally hit perfect stride together. Yeah. And that throw was beautiful. We spent some time the last couple of weeks on a deep ball drill, and it translated. And you know, when those two can get on the same page, as explosive as Cam is, it makes us even more dangerous to stretch the field, you know, vertically. Yeah, I want to talk about Cam in a different facet of the game, and That kick return was something else. He said after the game he's never done it before, and you would never know when you were watching that play develop.
Well, that's not what he told me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put him back there. He told me he'd done it before, but it was absolutely his first as a college football player, first of this season, and catches the thing and goes 94 yards. Just a great job by our entire unit, our special teams in general, across the board. We're fantastic Saturday.
We brought this up a few weeks ago, momentum being a real thing in a football game. Wesleyan just scored to tie the game at 14, and then Cam Moore did that right before the half, too. That had to have felt good.
Huge. I think we've talked on here before how important late half scores are for that reason. And Cam did a great job there, and that whole, like I said, the whole kickoff return unit was really, really good.
Wrapping up discussion about the offense, Ethan Greenville comes back, 81 yards, had some really tough runs, some big ones, and got that touchdown too. Was it nice having him back? It
was, and he'll get better each week. You know, we got to knock some rust off. He's been out for a few weeks, so the practice reps will help, but in-game experience and getting back out there was great to see him.
Let's get to the defense. 5 sacks in this game. The pressure has just increased week in, week out. Pretty dominant effort, I would say, from the defensive line. Did you see that on tape as well?
Yeah, you know, defensive line, and then also bringing some help with bringing DJ off the edge and our other linebackers here and there. Again, go back to Coach Durking and the defensive staff putting a great game plan together.
Now, this win puts you in the driver's seat for the conference. I know that means nothing if you don't win this week, but to be in control of your own destiny, within the building, what's the conversation like when it revolves around that topic?
You know, after the Wheaton game, we said we still control our own destinies to a certain extent. If we won out, we'd be co-conference champs. So we thought maybe a 3-way tie. But we would have had to do something really special at Wesleyan for the tiebreaker. And so when Wheaton lost that second one, we knew, hey guys, if we just win out 1 week at a time, we do truly control our own destiny now. And that hasn't changed. Last week's game doesn't change anything. We still have to win our game this week.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking about Milliken, but we have to wrap up Illinois Wesleyan first. We'll get to check the tape next on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is brought to you by Arena Americas, specialists in providing full-service rental solutions for events and special occasions of all sizes.
Time for Check the Tape, and Coach, this is a play that I know you're excited about, and I feel like every week we get DJ in on the Check the Tape segment, but it's because he keeps doing phenomenal things. What are your thoughts on this play?
Incredible. It's just an effort play, and he takes out 2 blockers and almost took the ball carrier out by ejecting the second blocker into him. But DJ plays like his hair's on fire. He has no regard for his body. He's going to do whatever necessary to get his job done and then some. And that was just, what a great way to start the game. I think that was their second offensive series, maybe even the first. But it really set the tone for the rest of the game defensively.
Now, we talked about this in the first segment, and it's the Cam Moore kick return. And you credit the whole unit, you credit Cam, but what went into the decision to put him back here for this?
You know, just getting a little bit more speed back, quite a bit more speed and just explosiveness. He's a bigger body. He's 200 pounds running that fast. So thought that could give us a shot in the arm. Certainly it did.
Look, that did just that. And actually, you can see as we zoom out at the end of this clip, Illinois Wesleyan's sideline was stunned. They went quiet, and that was right before the half. And you talked about that momentum breaker. That certainly plays a big part. The last play I want to get to is the Tommy Highland interception. This also seemed like a huge play in the game.
Yeah, you know, his job on that, we brought some pressure, but his job is to command a double team. And once that happens, spy the quarterback and read his eyes. And, I mean, he couldn't have done his job any better. And then, you know, he played some receiver in high school at Montini.
What?
Yeah, he was a receiver as well as playing, you know, on the defensive line. So he's a terrific athlete. We've talked about how fast he is. He's got great hands. Absolutely huge play in the game right there.
I talked to him after the game. I said, what was it like having the ball in your hand? He didn't mention the wide receiver, but he caught it with the hands. He wasn't, sometimes big guys have to cradle it. He actually caught that. I want to move to Milliken because this is a big game, and for the first time I feel like in a while this last game is going to have a lot of meaning to it.
Right.
Sometimes there's kind of a cleanup game to end the season, but this one carries a lot of weight. Milliken is a good team.
Yeah.
And you guys have a challenge awaiting you.
No question. They've got one of the best quarterbacks in the conference in the Stepina kid. He's a tremendous competitor, much like Brock. I think he's playing on a pretty severely injured knee.
Yeah.
And he's gutting it out. So I think their team is rallying around him. They've got some terrific athletes on the outside at receiver, some really good running backs, and their offensive line is enormous.
Wow.
So our defense will have their hands full again.
My broadcast partner, Grant Sabo, always says the transitive property does not apply to football, which means if a team beats another team, doesn't mean that you're going to beat them. But just for conversation's sake, they took WashU down to the wire. WashU beat Wheaton. The caliber of this team is strong. Is it fun having a game that you have to legitimately prepare for, just like you would for an Illinois Wesleyan or for a Wheaton, in the final week of the season before the playoffs?
Absolutely. I would prefer it that way. Heading into the playoffs, being on the top of our game and having to be on the top of our game. And it's been that way since we lost to Wheaton. Every week, we haven't had any room for error. So it's really not any different. Yeah. Preparing for a really good football team, just like Carthage and Illinois Wesleyan and the teams we've had to prepare for.
Now, I know you're certainly not thinking about a vacation at this point. You want to go as far deep into the winter as you can. But as the weather starts to get colder, and it's supposed to be, I think, below freezing on Saturday. I don't know if you knew that. But where would you go to vacation right now?
The Caribbean.
That was Clark's answer, too.
Many, many places, but Belize stands out to me. It's a place that would be great to visit with the family.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of want to visit too now. But thanks so much for stopping by, and good luck against Milliken.
Thank you, Kevin.
Coming up next, we'll have a couple players joining me on set. We'll be right back for the Red Zone. This week's play of the game isn't so much a single play as it is a sequence of plays during the third quarter. Brock Rutter shouldering the load and using the feet. The junior QB runs for a pivotal first down deep in Cardinal territory before finding Michael Spakis for an 86-yard pass play. And then to cap the drive, Rutter tucks and runs and grabs another 6. He also grabs the red zone's play of the game. Welcome back, and a couple of linemen on set. And Sharmore, we want to start with you. Offense humming in this game. You got 21 first half points. You put the game away in that second half. Let's talk about the running backs first, because obviously you want to get them going. You get Ethan back, and I know you're excited about that. What is it like putting your hand in the dirt and pushing forward for those guys?
It's amazing. That's like our main goal is to get them out and running, because once they're running, they're just amazing to watch. And it's just, especially with the group of freshmen, like the freshmen and like the veteran core that we have, we're excited to see all of them do their thing in space.
Illinois Wesleyan, that's a good team. That's a good defensive line. They've held some teams in check that otherwise have run rampant against other teams. To face this team and to do what you did, how impressive is that?
It was a really amazing experience to be there and like face them. They're a really good line, and we just wanted to show the CCIW that we're still a great offensive line and we still can run the ball and protect Brock. Protecting
Brock, but Brock sometimes goes on his own. How about his ability to run?
It's amazing to watch Brock run. It's so funny, but him and just doing this thing is amazing, because like once he's like doing it and he gets up, you can just see like the fire in his eyes and stuff like that. And he just like seeing him run gets the offense live and going and get us like actually like do our jobs and protect him even more.
He gets pretty fired up. It is funny because he's so calm and cool and collected, and all of a sudden he goes running, he's all like frazzled. So it's fun. Defensively, you guys were after it the whole game, from snap one to the final snap. Getting pressure on the quarterback, and you and I talked about this after the Elmhurst game, that's been a point of concentration for you guys, and it just seems like you're getting better and better and better. Talk about kind of the progress in that area.
I think just the D-line is starting to understand their job and role in the defense, and we're doing our job like interior-wise. Guys are getting their heads in the gaps, and DJ can make the big plays, When he's doing that, that gets us rolling, just like how Brock is with the offense, DJ's with the defense. So
you guys have one of the ultimate motivators in Coach Janisek. How helpful is that, kind of having him bark in your ear?
It's awesome. He fires us up before the game and halftime. He gets the whole team fired up. It really gets us rolling.
When Tommy picked that ball off, what was going through your head?
I was freaking out. I was in my mind. I was like, no way he just did that, because I was confused. I heard this the the bleachers like screaming and yelling. I was like just confused. I looked back and Tommy just had the ball, and I was just freaking out.
When you saw that on tape, when you saw him haul that in, were you hoping he could take it back?
I assumed he would, and then it looked like he was a little slow, but.
Poking a little fun, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Brock in the passing game. So we talked about the running game. He can sling the ball like nobody else. And the receivers are unbelievable on this team. Fickus, Hartema, Kaminsky, Cam Moore. Have you ever seen a group of wide receivers as good and as deep as this talented group is?
Not at all. Like, coming back from last year, they're all like really tight with each other, especially like adding Cam Moore.
Yeah.
They've all bonded so well. They're always together laughing, so that really helps on the field chemistry. Brock is like no other. He's the best quarterback I ever played with. He knows everything back, like the back of his hand, where everybody's going to be at the right time. Like some of the balls that he throws is there before the receivers even break route and look around. So it's just amazing just to see their chemistry on field.
Now you talk about chemistry. The offensive line has come together. It seems like you guys are gelling at the right time. This is a good mix of like younger guys and older guys, but you could return everybody at the end of the season. Is that fun, knowing that the unit could be back next year? We're
really excited about next year. This year we're still.
Yeah, it's still in this year, in the moment.
Yeah, but we're really excited, especially with having Ricky Sturba back next year potentially, and having Nate Gray fully start center for the whole year. We're going to be dangerous next year, and the CCI double better watch out for the O-line.
That's pretty exciting. That's good stuff. Now, the secondary has gotten better and better, and I know your back is usually turned to them, but when you guys break down film, you get to see what they're up to. Jake Beasley had a massive game. He had 2 pass breakups. He had the forced fumble on the goal line, and he had the interception. Is it fun knowing that you guys have people back there that are starting to make plays more and more often?
Yes, it feels amazing. When we can't get to the quarterback, we hope that we have guys in the back we can trust, and guys like Beasley, and Braden, like, we trust with all our heart.
Yeah. And you have veterans back there as well, and Cravens, and you've got Sudsy, and you've got Greenberg, who's making a transition up and around the field. What's it like having those guys back there kind of anchor the unit?
It's good to see them. They run up and make plays on the line, basically. Yeah. It gets us going, and we're when we can't do our job, they come back to complete it. So it's awesome to have a complete defense who can get the job done.
Yeah. Now, Sharmore, you're in position to win the conference. You got to beat Millikan first. Is that a fun challenge in the final game of the season, having something on the line to go out there and play for?
Oh yeah, it's always a fun challenge at the end of the year when there's such a good team that you have to face, and we're just really excited for the challenge, especially if we win, and if we do win this game. Yeah, it's just like a confidence boost going in the playoffs.
Talha, I know that this is the goal that you set out to do, not just win the national championship, but get the conference title, because to accomplish that ultimate goal, you got to do the first one first. But to have that and have to face a really good quarterback to get there, will that be rewarding if you guys can come out on top of this game?
It will be. We know, like you said, the quarterback's amazing. The running back, they have a big O-line. So our coaches are, like Coach Durkin and Coach Jancic, are creating a great game plan for us to put really good pressure on the guys. So we're going to get home a lot.
It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see what happens. You guys ready for the quick hits?
Yeah.
Sharmore, we'll start with you. Best nickname on the team?
I would say Nasty Nate.
Nasty Nate.
Nate Gray. He has a little temper, but like, it's good playing next to him with that temper, because you know that he truly cares.
A little bit of a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Offensive linemen have that.
Oh yeah. All the great centers in the past have had that.
Yep.
Angry LaCar he could snap at times. So
yeah.
But this just shows that they're excited and they're passionate about their jobs.
Nice. Talha?
I'd say Dan Gilroy. I call him Gilly Gilly. Some guys call him Gil Bob. He's a goofy guy. He gets the energy going with the D-line. So
that's awesome. He's a freshman too,
He's
right?
a freshman.
Nice. That's awesome. Talha, we'll start with you for this one. If you could just randomly change your major to any major you wanted, what is your current, and then what is your next one?
My current is computer science. I'd probably change it to like secondary education.
Interesting.
Be like a math teacher of some sort. And I like being active with kids, and even continue to do coaching at that point.
Cool. That's awesome. That's really cool. Sharmore?
My major is sports management with a coaching minor, and I would change to probably music or some type of art
Nice. What instrument or what kind of?
I don't know what instrument, but like just
something kind of fun.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we had Jeremy Nicholas on set, and he said he'd be a saxophone player. So maybe you can join a band with him.
Maybe.
Sharmore, we'll start with you. If you could go on vacation, and I know it's a long way off at this point, but if you can go somewhere warm, where would it be?
Probably Jamaica. Go back home, see the family.
That'd be awesome. You got family in Jamaica?
Yeah.
That's cool. It's a good excuse to go to Jamaica. Talha?
I'd probably go back to Turkey.
Really?
It's not that warm there, but being with the parents or being with the family.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have my parents and my siblings here. The rest of my family's back there. Being back in like the homeland it'd warm me up.
That'd be cool. Nice. Would you mind if I come with both of you guys?
Yeah.
Good excuse to travel. Guys, good luck against Millikan. We can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you
very much.
Coming up next, we'll go to the Cardinal Corner. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by Belgio's Catering.
I don't know, it hasn't really sunk in, really. I feel like I'm still exhausted.
3 years ago, North Central embarked on a new challenge, becoming Division III's pioneer in the sport of triathlon. Now, the Cardinals are two-time national champions with absolutely no end in sight. Not satisfied with the first title, head coach Jenny Garrison instead saw her team refuse to take it for granted.
No, I think it was reverse. I think it motivated everybody a bit more. So no, I think that there was nothing taken for granted, and I think we actually pushed them a little bit harder this year.
The path to Tempe, Arizona is much different and much more difficult this year for 2017 individual champion junior Grace Miller. An off-season knee surgery was anything but a completely corrective measure.
I didn't think I would be struggling with it this year because I did get the surgery in April. Not really sure what happened, but supposedly it's supposed to be pain-free. It's definitely not pain-free. I think it definitely made me find like the fire inside of me, or like things that I didn't think I would be able to do.
And while Miller fell short of repeating as champion, she crossed the finish line third, a feeling of accomplishment, but also relief.
It felt good to be done, but it was really nice just to know that finally be able to like cross the finish line and be like, okay, I did what I thought I was going to do. So
Grace is a competitor. She's got a lot of fire in her, so I wasn't really surprised. Kurt and I had talked the day before and the morning of, really and truly, like when they were lining up for the race, he looked at me and he's like, Grace looks amazing. I said, I know. Like, you can just tell, that she was going to be able to put the pain aside and focus on the task at hand.
The new individual champ, that's fellow teammate and senior Kate Canfield, a North Central swimmer who had a triathlon her junior year.
I knew I wanted to do it and still compete because I really like racing and stuff, but I just wasn't enjoying it as much, and I wanted kind of a change.
From a year ago till now, there was a huge difference. She's dropped minutes off of biking and running, really and truly, minutes. And I think that Kate has just started to scratch the surface with her running.
The team dominated the Division III competition, all the while proving they could also hang with the Division II and even I programs, perhaps because of an uptick in friendly competition.
I noticed a big difference with everyone competing with each other, within practices, which is really fun.
And it's not just their training, it's laughing and it's hanging out together, that it's part of the experience for them.
And while 2 championships are awfully nice, put in perspective, well, this is only just the beginning for North Central Triathlon.
We've grown so much, and so many new girls have come in, and hopefully more girls will come in next year, and the atmosphere of nationals especially has changed. Freshman year, I don't even know if it counted. We won freshman year, but it's just I don't know. It's come a long way.
And we're closing out the Red Zone. Sports Information Director Clarke Tusher on set. And Clarke, a new national champion on the campus. The 36th national championship for North Central, the triathlon team. How excited were they to bring this back home?
Pretty fired up. It was largely the same group that won the title last year. 3 of the top 4 individual finishers, a new individual national champion in Kate Canfield, which came as kind of a surprise to people who haven't been paying attention all season. Some folks down in Tempe were pretty surprised to see her being the first one out of the water. I don't think any of us were that surprised by that. Kate's an outstanding swimmer, but certainly reaping the benefits of several months of hard work. So to be able to celebrate and have that payoff at the end and be able to do that as a team, obviously a big moment for that program.
Back-to-back national championships. I'm guessing that the decision to start this program is starting to become, it's starting to look more and more genius, isn't it?
You know, we get asked to predict the future quite a bit, but I think this one was a pretty easy call, given all the different factors that went into the decision. And this just, you know, underscores what a good idea that was.
Now let's move to cross country. Both teams are going towards the regional meet, and both teams trying to find some success there.
Yeah, you know, this is the last kind of dress rehearsal before the national championship for the men's team. They will go through the same, you know, routine that they will go through for nationals, you know, down to the minute, pretty much. So they really believe that that's what's going to prepare them for what they need to do on the day of the championship on the 17th. They're actually not that far from the national meet. They're actually going to Eau Claire, Wisconsin for the regional before going to Oshkosh next week. So there's you know, that's really just kind of a stage, you know, rehearsal for them. You know, for the women, there's you know, it's a relatively strong regional in terms of the number of ranked teams that are going to go to that. So, and the at-large bids for nationals are weighted that way. So, you know, they're probably looking for something in the top 5 in the field that'll give them, you know, reasonable claim to one of those at-large bids. So a lot to run for this week.
Now let's go to wrestling. We haven't talked about this team yet this season, but it looks like another really strong group for Joe Norton's bunch.
Yeah, a lot of depth this year. They really didn't graduate too much from the starting lineup. Opened up on Tuesday evening down at McMurray College with a pair of dual meets, won those both handily. We'll go to their first tournament of the season this Saturday at Triathlon University over in Indiana. You know, really top to bottom, it's going to be difficult at some of those positions to pick a number 1 because of how many different talented, you know, guys they've got going on. But definitely a good team dynamic in practice. So a lot to be excited about there.
It's been pretty fun watching that program progress as it's been kind of nurtured by Joe Norton, hasn't it been?
Yeah, you know, wrestling is one of those sports where it's a little unique in the fact that the coaches regularly physically engage in this activity with the athletes. And Joe talks about Mo Mitchell, our 125-pounder, because as a former wrestler at that weight class, Joe wrestles with him pretty much every day. And, you know, he talks about how fast he is and you know, talking about he must be teleporting around me because I can't even see him and he's gone. And you know, Joe's still a relatively young guy, so we can't pin that on his age. But he's got a kind of a unique perspective as far as coaching goes in terms of how those guys are progressing and how good they're getting.
Let's talk about women's basketball, because this program is now kind of in its infancy stages with Coach Bax, and they have some interesting young talent, and obviously they want to get into the season, but right now they've gone through some exhibitions that have kind of provided a litmus test, if you will.
Yeah, they had an exhibition game at Loyola University Chicago on Saturday. You know, hung with that group through, you know, the first quarter or so before you know, the depth and talent of Loyola kind of got that game away from them. But you know, those games aren't about, you know, the score on the scoreboard. It's about getting out in front of a crowd and competing for the first time, and in an atmosphere that they won't see much of once the regular season starts. It's just a larger crowd. And you're doubling that with, you know, a lot of people playing in their first collegiate basketball game. You know, there's a lot of cobwebs and wrinkles to shake out. So it certainly looks like they've done that, and you know, they'll open up this weekend against Knox College, and see what happens when they do it for real. But I think you know, a good young core to build with for this year, and I think that's going to be kind of the priority. We're certainly looking forward to it. Now, we've talked 2 fall sports and 2 winter sports because winter is coming, and with winter coming means cold, and with cold means people want to take vacations. So we'll get you out of here on this quick hit. What would your vacation spot be right now? Where would that be? The Caribbean. Put me somewhere on a beach where I can just lay down for about a week. You know, we typically do that. You know, every year or two we are able to get down to a timeshare in St. Martin, and nice. We're kind of waiting for them to finish getting built back up after the hurricane. So. But definitely that's the spot for us, and just a nice quiet spot to lay down on the sand and chill out for about a week. Well, get a big enough suitcase so I can get stuffed in there and come down with you. Sounds good? That costs extra, man. I don't know. Clark, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it. Thank you. That's it for the Red Zone. Thanks so much for tuning in. The Cardinals finish up the regular season against Milliken on Saturday. 1 o'clock kickoff, 12:45 the pregame begins on NCTV 17. That's it for this week's show. I'm Kevin Jackman. We'll see you next week.